What's going on, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video, and this video, a Mark P commented on one of my other videos saying, asking, would I react to a Mr. Nightmare and the Nightmare Files video on the same topic in the same video. So, since you asked so nicely, I'm going to do that. It took me a while to do this because I've been just, I don't know, my mind has been all, I haven't even reacted to any more Lucifer. I still got like 2 episodes of Harley Quinn to finish. I think there's only 13 episodes of season 2. I know it's not, like, I don't think it's more than 13, but anyway. Yeah, I haven't reacted to anything, so, which is funny because I think the day after you sent me that comment, I was like, I could do that. It's not really a big deal. And when I went on YouTube, I think it was the Mr. Nightmare video was recommended to me. And if I recall, it's been a few days, probably longer than a few days, it might have been a week, but I think this Mr. Nightmare video is like 5 years old. And I think the Nightmare Files one was like 3 months or something. No, I don't think it's that long. Maybe like 3 weeks. I know one of them. And I don't even think Nightmare Files has been around for 5 years. But I know Mr. Nightmare's been around for a while. But I didn't start really looking at his stuff until probably 3 years ago. Maybe, might have been 4 years ago. So I guess he started 5 years. Let's say 5 years ago. I've been looking at it for that long. But anyway, so the first video is going to be, I think this is Mr. Nightmare. It looks like Mr. Nightmare, especially with the opening. I think the second one should be Nightmare Files. So without further ado, let's just get into this. Both of these are, well, this first one's going to be, since you brought up the topic, this was going to be 3 disturbing deep web stories. So, because I was, and then like I said, this came out recommended the day after you asked. So, coincidence? I think not. But anywho, here we go. Shit. I was editing something earlier that I forgot I turned to volume up.
I made the mistake of searching the deep web one time. I saw on Reddit some people were talking about this thing called Tor that allows you to search the deep web, and it was basically a post asking for the strangest things people have come across on the deep web. It intrigued me, some of the things people have found, so I went along and downloaded Tor. Someone on Reddit posted a link to a basically hidden wiki with a bunch of useful links to the dark web. I was shocked at how many child pornography links there were.
I didn't go to
I did my best to steer clear of anything like that. I did come across a link that took me to another page with a bunch of links, called the Black Pages. The page was black with a bunch of red and yellow links. The red pages seemed to be the strangest. There was one link called Personal Assassin, and another called Dead Pets. Reading some of those links, I realized how messed up this whole deep web thing really was. I clicked a yellow link and ended up at yet another page full of links. There, I found something that seemed interesting. It was called the Secret Society chat. I clicked on the link, and it took even longer than all the other pages took to load. I'd say I stared at a blank white screen for a good minute before the page finally turned black and a chat box popped up. Next to the chat box was a black video screen. I wish that I had just clicked the back button at that point, but instead, I typed "hey" in the chat box.
Why would you type it?
What happened next was weird. Someone wearing a mask sitting in a dark room popped up on the screen. I felt like my heart stopped when I saw my face pop up on the screen as well. The website was using my webcam, even though I naturally keep it off.
Always
I covered it with my thumb and tried to close the page, but at this point my taskbar was gone, along with the minimize and exit buttons at the top of the Tor window.
Damn.
I tried hitting Control-Alt-Delete, but it did nothing. And then there was a muffled, distorted voice coming from my speakers. I could only assume it was the guy in the mask.
I can smell you.
He was masking his voice with some kind of voice changer. I clearly remember he said,
"I still see you, James."
Ben Affleck's Batman.
My heart sank. He had said my name. I began hitting the power button on my laptop, and it felt like an eternity before it finally cut power. I didn't know if I should report what happened to the police, but from what I knew, everything was anonymous with Tor, so it didn't even seem worth it. It was obviously just a low-life hacker.
Let me guess, something
I went on with
happens
my life
where
after deleting the
this
Tor
person goes
browser
to
from
his
my
house
computer,
or some shit.
but about 2 weeks later, my mom threw a letter in my room. She told me it came in the mail for me. There was no return address on it. I ripped the letter open and unfolded the paper tucked inside.
Can you even send a letter with no
letters
return
that filled the
address?
paper were the 3 words,
Unless you personally
"Don't come back."
deliver.
I felt like I was going to throw up from the sickening feeling it gave me.
That seems a bit
I crumpled
much.
up the paper and threw it away.
Don't come
I didn't
back.
call the cops as
Like,
it seemed
really?
pointless, and I didn't tell my mom because it would only cause her to panic. But I have no idea how or
a
why
lot of
they
these,
got my
a lot of
address.
these stories are so sensationalized. Like those deep webs are mainly just for either child pornography.
My worst
or
experience on
drug
Tor
dealers
was
selling
stumbling
drugs.
upon a horrific, sickening page called
Like they
Human
get shit on
Experiments.
there talking about
I don't remember where exactly I found it.
Like,
It was
some of that
buried
stuff,
deep somewhere
like,
in a link archive page.
I think it's a
The
little
homepage
bit
described the content on the site.
sensationalized.
I was distraught at what I was reading. It said in a red, bloody font, "The experiments conducted for this website are to prove that not all humans are born equal. The people chosen to be experimented on were usually homeless, but also the unfortunate souls that happen to get caught by these sick fucks. These so-called experiments ranged from starvation and water restriction, reactions to extreme pain and torture, infections and diseases, and even infant tolerances to x-rays, pain, and heat. I had seen all those horrific shock videos like 3 Guys, 1 Hammer, so I thought I would be prepared for what I was going to see, but I wasn't. I made the mistake of clicking on the first link to the experiment photos. I honestly had to retain the urge to puke. I don't want to even give a description of what I saw, but I'll just say there were innocent victims, people just like you and I, going through horrible, horrible things that nobody should ever go through. Against my better judgment, I scrolled the entire page, and it only got worse. Pretty soon a whole section dedicated to infants and toddlers came up. I had somehow made it to the bottom of the page, and then a little box popped up on the screen. I didn't know what it was until a line of text popped up. The text said, "Did you enjoy the site?" I realized it was a chat box.
I'd have been like, sure did.
I typed,
I have to go now.
"Who is this?"
Goodbye.
The stranger promptly replied, evading my question by saying, "What was your favorite part of the site?" I asked the same question again. This time he actually acknowledged my question and told me he was the site owner. I told him that this was sick and inhumane, and that I would report the site immediately.
Why would
That
you
was my
say
biggest
that?
mistake, telling
Yeah.
him that, because after a short pause, he finally said, I see your name is Michael, and you live in Massachusetts." He was right, but instead of clicking out of that browser right away, I typed in, "No, you're wrong." About 10 seconds later,
You get your
he
name
typed
right
something that made my
and
heart
where
feel
you
like it
stay
shriveled
you
up,
at.
and that was my address, my complete, correct home address.
Oh shit.
His final words were, "Have a nice day." I closed the browser and slammed my laptop shut. I called the police first thing
And
before
now
even
he
telling my
magically
parents.
forgot your address.
When the cops got to our house, I explained everything to everyone at once. They wanted to see my computer since I didn't remember the link to the website. Unfortunately,
Parents
the
about to
Tor
find you
browser
porn.
doesn't save your browsing history, so I couldn't even help them in shutting down this website. The cops told us that if what I said was true, that we should find another place to stay as soon as possible. Thankfully, this was around the time that we were looking to move away anyway.
Convenient.
I couldn't
Your
believe
dad
how
was
fast
like,
my parents
well, I
were
guess
able to sell the house and find
a lot
another.
quicker now.
I apologized to them every day for a month after this happened. I hated to have to make them go through this all. I liked to think the guy in the chat was just bluffing, but I couldn't take the chance. I don't think anybody should ever look into the deep web, as there is no good to come of it.
Don't be so obvious. Like, I'm going to report you. Like,
there used to be a website on the dark web called the Silk Road. It was an underground illegal drug marketplace. I had heard about it through friends that had used it. Our weed dealer was moving out of state and he was our only connection, so my friends started using this website and claimed that it was legit. The timing couldn't be better to score some pot since my parents were in Atlantic City for the weekend.
A friend, he said he used
I downloaded the Tor browser and checked it out. The biggest seller on the site was cannabis, of course. I left a comment on one of the newer listings asking for anybody to tell me if the listing was legit. I came back to the site about an hour later, and I had one new message. It was from a user named Illy B. He saw my comment and offered to sell me an ounce for a really low price, but he only does local. I've done local deals before, and I've never really had a problem with them, so I told him that I was in Washington. Turned out, he lived only about an hour away from me. I suggested we meet halfway, but shockingly, he said he would just meet me in my hometown. I couldn't turn down that offer. He said he would be over after work, around 9 o'clock. I told him to meet me in the Wendy's parking lot. He asked me a bunch of weird questions like my address, who I live with. I definitely didn't want to give my address to a pot dealer, and I lied and told him I lived alone. A little bit later, he texted me telling me he found a much better place to do the deal. It was behind an old closed-down retail store at the edge of town.
I feel like
this alarm was going off. I was so desperate to get that grass. I knew exactly where that building was, so I drove over and got there within 5 minutes. I parked the car behind the building, but couldn't see anyone else there. Then I got a text saying he was on his way. That made no sense, because if he lived an hour away, how would he know of this place? I sat there for like 20 minutes trying to get another response from him, but he never answered.
Because he's at your house.
I decided to just give it up. I had a feeling something sketchy was going on and that I should just leave while I still could. It took me 10 minutes to get back home. My front door was open. I knew I had shut it, so I was worried that my parents had gotten home early.
Tricked your ass.
I parked my car in the driveway since my dad didn't take it and went back inside. The light upstairs in my parents' bedroom was on, and I heard some kind of shuffling noise.
Wait,
I shouted Mom and Dad, and the noises stopped. The door to the room slammed shut.
You would think they would know to
and
hurry
I knew
up.
Something was wrong. My dad's car wasn't even in sight, and now he's not answering. It took me long enough to realize that whoever was in there wasn't either one of my parents. Since I'm a straight-up idiot, I grabbed a carving knife from the kitchen and charged upstairs to my parents' room.
Why?
I practically almost broke down the door after slamming it open. I didn't see anyone, but I right away picked up on the fact that my mom's jewelry case was opened. I grabbed the phone in my parents' room and called 911, but something grabbed me from under the bed. I used the knife in my hand to stab their arm, and the man under the bed began to scream in agony. Since it was a corded phone, I couldn't leave the room with it. All I had time to tell the police was that someone broke into my house and then gave them my address.
15 years.
The man crawled out from under the bed with the knife still in his arm. He didn't even look at me. He just ran straight for the front door into his car. The best I could describe him was that he was a black man with a backwards hat and raggy clothing, and he drove a black Honda Accord. Of course, I couldn't tell the police much. I couldn't bring up the website, as it was illegal to use it. All I could do was describe him to the best of my ability.
You didn't want to incriminate
yourself.
He's
still out there home free. I can only guess he got my address by hacking me somehow.
About you. Oh, I guess he didn't give his address. Thank you for watching. Careful on the deep web. Okay, so at first I thought he said he gave him his address. I was like, he's an idiot, but he hacked him. So, but this dude wearing, he must be like, why are you there with a backwards cap on? Like, if anything, I'd had a ski mask on, something that I just pull down and then pull up and roll up into it. It look like I got a wool cap on. Now, it might look weird if I got a wool cap on and it's, summer, something somewhere. But you would think if he's using this tactic he would have told him, hey, meet me here. Someplace that's like, more than 5 minutes away from the guy's house. He said it took him 5 minutes to get, the first time to get from his house to there, and then it took him 10 minutes to get back. So clearly something happened where he got, in traffic or something like that maybe. But you would think, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to use this strategy to get this person out of the house. You did, and they said they live by themselves, so I don't have to worry about people there. But this guy lied, but still no one was there, so it doesn't even matter. Get them out of the house. I would tell them, hey, meet me here. Someplace that's like 20, 30 minutes away. And if I got their address already, I'd be like, hey, meet me here. And then I would already be at their house. So I could see them. Oh, I thought that was some on my shirt. It's like some on my camera, on my phone screen. I would be like, I would be sitting there waiting for them to leave. As soon as they leave, their car is out of sight. I'm up in their house, getting in the house. So that's what this dude, and grabbing, going as quickly as possible. Like I know, I probably at least, like I said, if I'm doing all this work, and I know this place is 30 minutes away from where they're at, they got 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to get back, so I have an hour. But I don't want to be lollygagging around there for an hour. So you get in, get out. Might as well get the next video ready. You get in, get out, and grab what you can. Like don't probably, I would say don't stand there anymore. Probably 10, 15 minutes looking around for stuff. If it was me, I'd probably be doing less time than that. Like get in there. Now, it depends on how long it takes me to get in the house. If I gotta pick a lock, or if I break a window and just open the door from the inside, then I'm in. But let's say there's an alarm inside. They have he set an alarm and it's a motion detector and it goes off. Then again you get out. Or you grab, maybe it's a laptop, so you grab that and run out. You don't sit there like this guy is there. He gives the directions 5 minutes away from the guy's house. He's at the guy's house. I don't, like I said, he must have. Maybe he was already there because he said it took him 5 minutes to get there and 10 minutes to get back. I feel like with that, the guy probably, like I said I would do, like he was already at his house and he left. So basically, I had like 15 minutes because it took him 5 minutes and another 10 minutes to get back. But that's not enough time. At least you want way more time than that, unless you trying to do like these jewel heists they do on TV and shit. Like you got 90 seconds or some shit. Like with he didn't think, you clearly tell this person's smart enough to hack, I guess, or somebody did it for him. Maybe somebody's a hacker, and this person who actually goes in and steals the shit, but knows how to break into places. But if he's both, that he's definitely not intelligent enough to know. Okay, like I said, to give him enough time to do what he needs to do, and he's lingering around in the house, like, not doing what's idiot. But don't do this shit anyway. You shouldn't be robbing people anyway. But yeah, just like I said, I've never actually been on the deep or dark web like myself. Like I said, I guess I remember getting some torrent sites when I was a kid, but they were supposed to be like torrent sites, and they said someone told me they were for forums, for like Dragon Ball Z shit. So I thought that was the main thing. When I was like a teenager, I looked like Dragon Ball Z shit, mainly anime stuff in general, but mainly Dragon Ball Z. And I did point and click puzzle adventure games, or just point and click puzzle games. So on my computer, that was the only games I played. Or I would go on to like Adult Swim had a website. I think they had what was that? It was like a Rainbow Unicorn, I think, game back in the day. That game was fun, but never really went. Like I said, I had a friend who said he would go on like torrent websites. He never said like the dark web. He used to say go on like torrent websites and look for like places to buy weed. He said he bought some weed on there because it was cheaper than weed dealers in his area. Cause I know a bunch of people that say, well, I don't even smoke weed. And I knew a bunch of people who sold weed. So I was like, it's not hard. And then those people I just either met through somebody else and we like friends with them, or friends of mine who just started doing it. So I was like, it's not hard to find people who sell weed. At least there. And it was a small town. But even up here, like I got family members sell weed, grow weed. I found a place I could buy seeds. Well, I mean, it's legal now, so a much different story. You're talking about early 2000s. How I could go to a dispensary and just buy weed. But anyway, let's get to the next video. This is 3 horrifying true dark web horror stories. And I think this one is from Nightmare Files. I hope I didn't accidentally, because I had some other videos on here. I hope I didn't select another Mr. Nightmare. Because you specifically said Mr. Nightmare and Nightmare Files. So I don't want to put like a Unit 522 or one of those other scary narration YouTube channels. But anyway, let's get into this because it's gonna go over time. For my camera's probably gonna stop rolling. Here we go.
He texted me from another number after I blocked him. I told Latrice how creepy this guy is. Then Latrice stopped me from talking because she thought she heard something. Then I heard a voice.
Then I said, fuck.
Nightmare Files.
Because of something called the dark web. In 2015, the founder of a website called the Silk Road was sentenced to life in prison.
The most common dark web networks that we encounter right now are Tor, I2P.
A few years ago, more like 10 years ago, I used to be big into visiting weird websites. I had a lot of time on my hand. Due to not playing sports, nor did I volunteer for anything at all in high school. I told my friend Mark that I was starting to get
bored. Like me. Well, I did volunteer for some stuff.
I was bored with what I was experiencing on these websites. He said I should go on the deep web.
Spice things up.
I used to go on the deep web, but
how about you go to a website where they have
so
child
pornography,
or sex
do some
trafficking,
more stuff,
or drug dealing?
I searched for hours every day for about 2.5 months.
Snuff films, I guess.
Still nothing that I hadn't seen already.
If they actually do that stuff.
I told Mark, and of course he said, just visit the dark web. When I did go on the dark web, I saw chat rooms, all with different names. I came across one named I, as in EYE. It was all in caps. I entered the chat, but before entering the live chat, you are assigned a number. Mine was P34. I confirmed my number and entered. There were hundreds of people. The comments were coming in quick. At first, I didn't understand what was going on. The screen was black, then a name popped up on the screen that said Mr. Wiggles. The comments immediately stopped and a voice came over my speakers. Welcome, P34. Then his name disappeared off of the screen and the comments continued, everyone giving me welcomes. A few minutes go by.
Welcome.
Then the countdown from 10 pops up on
to
the
screen.
Snuff film. Then the chat goes
Snuff film hours.
Once it reached the number 1, the screen went straight to what looks like a view from a camera just watching someone in what looks like at their home. I sat there watching this for 20 minutes and nothing happened, so I shut down my computer. The next day I went to school, had a normal day, went to Walmart, then I went home. I decided to go back on the same chat from before. I confirmed my number P3.
Dude, just play video games. Like,
There were hundreds of
get
people
on this shit.
Mr. Wiggles popped up, and just like before, the comments stopped. Across the screen, it said, "No new members tonight." Then the countdown started again.
It's only the old sick
Everyone in
members.
the chat started going wild. The countdown finished, and then it was showing the point of view from a camera again. But it was outside of the school. My school from earlier that day. At that point, I was intrigued. I couldn't tell if it was focused on a certain person or just watching the school. After 30 minutes of watching the video, our school bell rang and everyone started to come outside while whoever was recording was positioned across the street.
Have I seen this?
Once everyone came out, the person got out the car
Maybe.
and started to follow a crowd of kids.
Because I think I've heard this. Because
Everyone
they
started
start
to steal
following
from
him.
each other, and
Shit,
the person
I feel like
recording
eyelashes
started
in
to
my eye.
follow someone. It was my friend Mark.
Oh, it's...
He had to be at least 100 feet behind him. I started to call Mark, but he didn't answer. I kept calling him as I watched the video, but nothing. The person followed him to his house and sat outside of his house for a few minutes. The man behind the camera finally said, "No parents are home." And he began to walk to Mark's house, rang the doorbell, and waited as he continued to record. A few seconds go by, and Mark opened the door.
And you
He
didn't
looked
keep
confused,
calling
and
Mark?
The guy said, "P34 sent me." And Mark looked afraid, then the camera shut off and everyone in the chat left. So I did too. I called Mark's house phone instead of his cell phone, and his mother answered. I asked for Mark, and she said that she thought he was with me. I panicked.
Oh, boy.
I then received a notification on my phone from my Gmail account. It said the sender was Mr. Wiggles. The message was, "I'm getting closer, P34. Mark says hi." I was shocked and didn't know what to do, so I called the cops. They didn't do anything about it because the email disappeared. I haven't been on the dark web since, and no one has
Email
seen
disappeared?
Mark.
What do you hack your
Still to
email?
this day, I receive messages with pictures of me in random places, along with the same written message that said, "It can happen anytime."
Oh, boy. Okay, yeah, you need
I
to...
honestly wish I never went on the dark web.
So he just took your friend because he was you? That kind of scared me. I wasn't expecting that. That's some movie bullshit. Like,
When I was a teenager, I would often explore the deep web.
he keeps sending you messages. I'm getting closer.
Specifically
Like,
weird stuff on Hidden Wiki. There were definitely a lot of links to choose from. I never clicked on the violent links because I'm not into that. My friend Latrice told me
somebody on my
to
violence
click
board.
on one that says "New Best Friend." After doing so, it takes you to a page where you have to make a profile. I put the name Lisa on my profile. My real name is Susan. Once I made the profile, you are directed to a main page that has categories. They were silly, serious, smart, and smothering. We clicked smothering. I thought it was funny. After choosing, there was a list of people with their pictures, male and female.
Who would you like to
I
have
clicked on the
smothered?
profile of a guy that had the name 5, like the number 5. I entered, and it didn't seem like someone who would be a smothering friend. When I was searching through his profile, I received a message from him asking if I were looking for a friend. I looked at Latrice,
Hell no.
and she laughed, but also told me to respond yes. So we're messaging back and forth for maybe 30 minutes, and then Latrice had to go. I told him I'll be back on tomorrow, and he said okay. Maybe a week went by where I would talk to him every night. He seemed very nice, so we exchanged numbers so we could talk more. Everything seemed fine until I clicked on another profile and someone else messaged me. I started talking with this other person, but still was texting the guy 5, which I knew his real name now as William. The new guy had the name Bill on his profile. A day went by,
Okay.
and he seemed cool, but then William randomly asked me why I was talking with Bill. I didn't know what to say, so I never responded. He kept texting with angry messages, so I blocked him. I didn't receive any texts, only a single message on that site, and it said soon. One day after school, my friend Latrice came over to have a sleepover.
Why do people try to be
we got
so
comfortable,
intimidating?
went to my room, and did our usual of surfing through the web, being nosy. I brought up that guy. Then I received a text message that said, "Why'd you block me?" from a random number.
Because you're being creepy.
I replied with a question mark. Then it replied, "It's me, William." He texted me from another number after I blocked him. I told Latrice how creepy this guy is. Then Latrice stopped me from talking because she thought she heard something. Then I heard a voice. "I'm not that creepy." We both responded by screaming and looking around. I saw someone coming from under my bed, so we ran screaming out of my room, and my mother called the cops.
I didn't realize they were in their room.
He left through my window, and nothing could be traced back to him. I'm starting to think that he was both of the people I was talking to. That definitely opened my eyes to the dangers of the internet. I would never visit the dark web again.
Yeah, be careful. It's all fun and games till somebody gets sexually abused or kidnapped or killed or something.
I'm a guy that loves to live life on the edge. So one day I was searching around on some weird sites on Tor. I saw a link that was named Craigslist. It wasn't one word.
Oh, crazy.
It was two words, like there was a guy named Craig and it was his list. I wanted to find out what this list was about, so I hit the link. All I saw were items for sale. The thing was, posted everywhere. It says that he delivers everything personally and will come to wherever you want.
I've never actually bought anything.
So
I went with somebody.
I wanted to see how authentic this was
like,
and ordered some shoes.
You need backup. And I think I took like a knife
a message from Craig
and a bat.
We messaged back and forth, and he offered his phone number. I took it.
But it was cool. He had the thing.
Basically,
he
the
had
rest
the money.
of the night, about
had the money.
We decided Walmart in the next town over from me.
I was like, well, that was uneventful. He didn't even try to kill us.
I figured it's less work for me. So a few days go by without any communication. Then Craig texts me one day, asking if today was a good day to receive my shoes. I said yes. He replied with okay. A few hours went by. And then he asked me if I was home alone and what's my address. I replied with why. It started to get weird. Then he dismissed it and asked my address again, even though we weren't even meeting at my house.
Yeah, like what?
So I asked why again. He then replied that he wanted to see if I would lie to him. After that, I didn't reply anymore.
So he knows your address.
He kept saying that he was playing and didn't mean to freak me out.
Or
he became angry and started
lying.
sending pictures from my webcam.
Oh boy.
After that, he sent my name and address.
Yeah, he already had your fucking address.
On the way text. I called 6 of my friends over because I couldn't call the cops and tell them that I was on a illegal website and this guy is after me. Nothing happened after my friends came over.
On the way.
After that either. I know this doesn't seem too scary, but it definitely freaked me out.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
At first, I didn't understand why this guy's link was on the dark web and not the deep web. Now I know why. You can probably guess that I don't go on either one of those anymore.
It was probably just full of shit. Because he already had your address. So I wanted to see you was gonna lie to me. Like what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and it like first I think he was. I thought he was doing a thing where he was like, well, I'm just trying to make sure you're trustworthy, and then you give them your address. He's like, oh, I got you, because he couldn't find it or figure it out. But then he sends him the message like, oh, I got your name and address, and it's like you already had it. Were you asking me my address? Like, and even if I lied, what? You like, okay? Like I don't. Yeah, that would. Like, I mean, I'm not like I can see him doing that. Like I would see you lie. Like why? If you figured it out, that don't make sense. Like you figured it out. You already knew my address. You like on the way. I'm like okay. I'd have been. You know what I did? I'd have opened my front door, cut off all the lights in the house, have my night vision goggles, and like turn off the power, like turn off the circuit breaker, and just sit in the corner with my gun, just wait for his ass to come. Oh, like, oh yeah, you get the fuck out of here. Like, I love movies when you see like when they're like focusing on like a person and this person like a killer or something, but then they run into somebody else and they're like, oh, I'm probably gonna be planning on probably killing this person, and then this person is way worse. And it's gonna kill them now. I don't know what the first thing comes to mind is it was like a horror anthology film where the chick who plays Rogue, she was like a werewolf or something, and she was coming of age, and I think she had to she was turned towards, she had to kill somebody or something, that she turned like 16 or some shit, I can't remember, but it was like come of age for like werewolf, and then this dude was like he had killed like some, I think he killed some kids or killed somebody, and was burying them in his yard, and then he was gonna kill her, and then I'm finding out this motherfucker is a werewolf, and she said something, she said be gentle with me, it's my first time, and she like turned to a werewolf, ripped this motherfucker's throat. I might put it in there if I remember when I'm editing this. But yeah, I was watching it was a Korean film where these two guys had. I was kind of watching, it was kind of the background, but there's a particular scene I was looking at where these two guys were like, I guess they were like an Uber or a taxi or something. They picked this guy up, and it was subtitled, so I was in, like I said, it was in the background. I was kind of like looking, so I don't remember exactly what they were saying, but the guy they picked up, he had like a bruise on his face, and he took his hat off. He had like a cut or something here and a bruise on his forehead. And the guy in the back seat was just like, looking at him. He was kind of like looking back, looked in the mirror, and I'm guessing they were planning on killing and robbing him or something. Because he was looking around. You could see on the dashboard, I think it was a taxi, because he had like their plate. You see in a taxi where they have basically they're authorized to drive a taxi. And you see their picture and stuff. Picture looked like neither one of these guys in the car. I think these guys look like they probably in their late 20s, maybe early 30s. The guy in the picture looked like he might have been in his 50s, or late 50s, and didn't look like him anyway. And then this guy, I forget what he said, but it just, you could, when I was looking at it, you could just feel the tension in the scene. And they got pulled out, the guy who got in the car, pulled out like a knife, and he started stabbing the guy. And then like right then my phone rang, so I don't remember what happened after that, because I was some damn spam call, and I answered. Normally I don't answer those calls. I answered, but I was talking some shit. I was like, your social security number has been the fuck they say, because I've gotten this call before. My social security number has been like not terminated. What's the word I'm looking for? Like suspended or something. Like he said, like somebody got it and been suspended, and you got to get it where I can use it again or some shit. I have to give him my social security number. I was like, how do you know my social security number is suspended and it's me? Where you want me to give you my social security number? Like, I guess he needs to make sure that it's me. Well, I was like, man, I said, I was like, I go to the social security office and handle this, and it's bullshit because because he does not have like tracking on my own stuff. I'm not gonna go into it like tracking on my stuff to see what if anyone is using like my social security number, because I got something before. Somebody was using my social security number in Alabama or something, and I tracked, and somebody opened up a Sam's Club account in Alabama and was using it, and I got it terminated. And something that happened when I was a baby. My dad told me that somebody used my social security number because he had a call. He said somebody was trying to buy an RV, and they gave my social security number. He told me, he said that's interesting. He said, cause my son's like 3 years old. And they were like, oh, okay. They said, well, we'll make sure we call the authorities. So I was like, interesting. But yeah, be careful on anything, any website. I don't give a damn if it's Twitter, because some of these people are evil. They're evil people out there. They do evil things, and some of these people are on the road most taken. You think they on these hard websites, they can hardly be tracked and stuff. Some of these people on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all these social media websites or whatever. They can be on there too. And if you're gonna meet somebody, I would say, if you got a gun, make sure you take a gun, a knife, a bat. I would say a knife, something that you can carry on you, conceal. But maybe a cane, or walk like you got a limb, because I got like a cane, and that's a little sword. And I walk like I need a cane, and fucking tell me I turn to the goddamn Highlanders. Like they could be only one bitch. But yeah, you gotta be careful. So like I said, I think a lot of these things are like just sensationalized. Like especially like the snuff ones, or the ones that kind of like torture porn, like hostile. Whoever bids, we're gonna go and take this person, or you say whoever bids the most, we're gonna cut this person's Achilles tendon. I said hostile. That's the first thing. Cause that scene they cut that guy's Achilles tendon. It's rough, but the whole movie's rough. But that part, I was like, oh, tendons cut. This eyeballs and tendons being cut always fucks me up. But yeah, some of that stuff I think is very sensational. Like I said, I know they've had, they use that for, like I said, child pornography, sex trafficking, and drugs. Because I think. And they was cracking down on the drug part, but I think if they start having stuff where people are literally just having live snuff films, like I feel like the FBI would be on that so goddamn fast. Like they jumped on it with the drug. Like you know how fast they be people doing live snuff film, and these people who hack government servers or some of these well-known hackers. The government, they don't put them motherfuckers in jail. They hire these motherfuckers to go find other sick people. But yeah, but anyway, my camera's about to cut off in like 2 minutes. But yeah, so there you go, Mark P. You wanted both of these, you got them. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching these. Like I said, I don't think I saw the Nightmare Files one, but I could be wrong. Maybe I saw it. I mean, I know I didn't do a reaction to it. I don't think. I looked up. I didn't see anything about Deep Web, but I might have seen it in passing or something like that. But I watched it maybe when I woke up. That's how I fall asleep with YouTube on. I wake up and take a video, and I've seen stuff like Mr. Nightmare's been on, or even Nightmare Files, or Unit 522, or Thriller Teller, or whatever that other one is. Some of the animated ones, but yeah, I enjoyed this. Maybe I'll do some more of this sometime. No promises, but you never know. I don't want to point myself close. I said you said you gonna do it. It's like maybe, but anywho, hope everyone else enjoyed it as well. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. hit that bell. You can be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. Tell me some stories of you ever been on the dark web. Maybe I think that this sensationalized part, maybe this actually happened. You actually saw some snuff shit or some look like might have been turning into a snuff film. Let me know. Or could, or like I said, this could be people who are makeup artists or whatever, or practical effects guys doing it. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, let me know down in the comment section down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.